I'm Orlando, here with Joe, and today's trending topic, to start it off, it's going to be Twitter. So Twitter is the social media network that won't die. That's the best way to put it. Joe, do you use Twitter?
I don't specifically have a personal Twitter, but I do for a side business that I have going.
So there we go. That's why Twitter is still alive. I use Twitter mainly as an informational tool to keep up with the news and what's going on. And the fact that Twitter has been able to crawl along for 12 years had everybody think that it would die. But today it's a trending topic because Twitter finally, after 12 years of work, has made a profit. And that's a pretty big deal.
That's a huge deal.
Yeah, I mean, finally making money after 12 years when... Actually, do you know that last year Twitter was trying to sell itself to another company and Facebook didn't want it, Google didn't want to purchase it, nobody wanted it, and yet somehow they turned it around and managed in the last quarter to finally post a profit for the first time. That's pretty significant.
Right, most definitely. And why do you think that turnaround has happened?
Well, that's a good question. Twitter finally, for the first time ever, showed some guts to act like a real company. That's the only way we can do it. We see companies like Snapchat and Facebook in its beginning count with a lot of outside money to have an explosion of growth, but not really focus on the business of making money. Now that nobody wants to buy Twitter, Twitter had to kind of like hunker down, figure out how do they become profitable. And they did it by cutting costs. So that's a traditional method in companies. But something else that they did was that despite the fact that they were making money in the U.S., while they're not the biggest, and they actually lost users, they actually grew internationally. So the fact that it's still growing and that its presence is getting bigger is a good sign for the company as a whole.
All right.
Now, do you have any numbers that we can talk about the user base of Twitter?
Yeah, there are 67 million users in the United States, and we can only predict this number to increase because Twitter has made a few modifications, one specifically increasing the character count from 140 to 280, allowing companies and other businesses to incorporate some of their SEO keywords inside of their Twitter post, which will most definitely be beneficial to their business. Wouldn't you say so?
Definitely, and not just from a business standpoint, but from a personal standpoint. The key to any social media network is engagement. So, like you mentioned, they went from 140 characters to 280 to try to expand the amount of time that people spend on the network itself. That actually gives it more value to advertisers, more value to businesses, and overall, actually, it gives it more SEO value. So, as a network to use for SEO, does Twitter still matter? That's a good question to ask. What do you think?
Well, I think that we kind of discussed this a little bit before, but when Google sent out its crawlers to go, investigate the kind of activity on your social media, it needs to read some kind of context. So that really just leaves Facebook, Twitter, and Google Plus to be the main three social media indicators.
Exactly, and that's something that's actually very interesting because when you think about it, Instagram is wildly popular, but it's not crawlable yet.
Right.
A network like Snapchat that's growing, it's not really crawlable either. So from a business standpoint, it doesn't have as much SEO value. Twitter, very crawlable. 90% of its content, well, they're trying to change that up, but most of its content is text.
Right.
So that's great for crawlers. So Twitter still has a lot of SEO value. The fact that it's growing internationally is a good sign. Mm-hmm. And I actually believe that they can still stun the fact that it's having a negative growth or, decreasing the amount of users in the U.S. and actually turn that around. So if they can do that, the company will continue to post a profit and could actually in the next 2 years become a significant player once again in the social media landscape. So that's what I think that's going on. Them posting a profit, very big deal. Would you like to add anything to that?
Yeah, most definitely. I think the fact that we have some major public figures like entering the Twitter game, like Elon Musk and even the president of the United States, a lot of people like to follow the information and the posts that these people are providing. And there's really no way to do that on the fly other than, visiting their Twitter page. And
exactly. Other networks actually, that's a very good point. Other networks haven't been able to replicate that special sauce that Twitter has. Everywhere else, you have to do an image. You have to think of your post a little bit. Twitter has been very good as a point of having direct communication with famous figures and also getting direct information from them quickly as it happens. So the fact that you can just write a text, the same as texting, which we all do,
Right.
and that's a tweet, has made it a valuable network. You can't do that on Instagram. You don't really do that on Snapchat. And Facebook is not really used in that manner. So Twitter still has a chance. Because of that, that's why Twitter, that, and making a profit makes it this week's trending topic.
Most definitely.
Take care, guys.
Thank you so much.
See you next week.